Alright, in this lesson we're going to be animating a race car going around a racetrack. So yeah, as you can see, I've created a very basic car and a very basic track. Now, for this exercise, I would recommend just having your car be one object. Nothing moves independently on my car. The wheels and driver are all part of the same shape. We're going to be focused on the animation of the car on the track. So, if I wanted to create a copy of this, all I would need to do is obviously select this, select the Move tool, hold down Shift, and drag it over, and then select Copy, and it'll create an identical version of this, of that first car, as you can see. And if I want to differentiate these further, I can go into the Material Editor, and let's just give this a red color. I'll make this one. Sorry, my thing was off the screen there. Give this blue. So now I could go and color these different colors as I need to. Let's try that again, because it appears that it was giving. There we go. Right. Another thing to point out is that as you can see, when I select my car and I rotate it, it rotates from the front. That's because for my animation, my cars have front-wheel drive. They'll never pivot from the center. For the most part, you're going to want to create that pivot where wherever, if the car is front-wheel drive, it's going to come from the front, back-wheel drive from the back. Mostly, or I'm sorry, from not where. If it's front or rear wheel drive, it's where the steering happens, which is typically the front wheel. So the way I did that is I went under the hierarchy menu. With pivot selected, I went to Effect Pivot Only, and I can actually, click the Move tool, and I can actually change where that pivot is. So like if I want to make it the back wheel, I can turn that off, and now it'll turn from the back. But for this, I want to animate from the front. Now from here, just to make this a little easier to see, let's give the track its own color. Let's just put it, just make it right there. Oh, I have it frozen. There. That'll make it a little bit easier to see. So now from here, all you're going to need to do is to animate your cars. And this is since you're only animating in 2 dimensions really, let's get rid of the grid. Top view tends to be a little bit easier. So for this, since I'm going to be managing multiple objects, I'm going to use set key mode. Because auto key, if I accidentally move something at the wrong point, it can really mess things up. So set key again means that I have to click this little key button every time I want to create a keyframe. So since I'm starting at the beginning, I'm going to create a keyframe, and as you can see, it appears at frame 0. And then I'm just going to start kind of figuring out where I want this car to go. So I'm going to move to frame 15. Oops. Create a keyframe, and then let's see, it's probably going to go right about there. And for this, I would strongly recommend animating one car at a time, because then you can go back and change those keyframes around as you need to. And then for this one, oops. Create keyframe. So now you can see it's starting to create, oops. As you can see, it is cutting off that turn. So I'm just going to have to go in and create more keyframes. So I put one in there. As you can see, it gets a little bit tighter. So you just have to go in and add additional ones as needed. So as you can see, it's a little farther in than I want. You can have your cars sliding around as much as you want. So let's say I want this car to stay on the inside. And since I'm adjusting keys, I'm going to actually switch to auto key mode. So let's say I want this car to stay on the inside. And since I'm in auto key mode, it's keeping those keyframes. So now you can see that it's pretty much consistent. And then at any point I can actually take and move these keys around if I really need to. So now let's look at my perspective view. You can see, turn auto key off. Let's actually change the length of this since I only have like 45 frames animated. So let's just go to 45 here. Okay. And hit play. So as you can see, there's the beginnings of my race.